This shall shoot the fleas off a dog's back at 500 yards, Tannen, and it's pointed straight at your head. Welcome in to the Bro Force Squad podcast. We're just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies, and this is our 100th episode. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. I am your host, the Mayor, Jeff Hornacek, and before we get into the movie conversation for this very special engagement, let's go around and meet the fellow bros. As is tradition, first we go into the lab to the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Now, Banner, we've hit the 100 episode mark here at the Bro Force Squad podcast. By your specific calculations, what's our beers consumed total up to?
Well, we're going to say we average 3 beers an episode, so that's 300 a person. Times 3 is 900.
Do IPAs count as like 2?
It's actually 1 1/3.
Of course, yeah.
Commentaries, we're probably averaging about 7 to 10. Movie reviews, we're probably averaging 1.5.
Yeah.
And brobacks are obviously 1.
So by that calculation, I have too many.
Yeah, a lot.
Perfect.
They can't handle the answer. They can't handle the numbers.
They couldn't handle the answer when he was playing for the Sixers either, you know what I'm saying? All right, next we go into the paint to the enforcer, Matt Geiger. Now, Geiger, in our next 100 episodes, who's the person or celebrity you'd most like us to get into an internet argument or maybe just an actual physical confrontation with?
Well, if Hannah Brown doesn't stop showing up on The fucking Bachelor, I might want to take a swing at her. What the hell's her deal? Check your alarm. Your 15 seconds are up. Get out of the way.
The funny thing is, and we'll get into this in our, believe it or not,
spoiler.
Believe it or not, we're
going to talk Bachelor here in a second.
Which shows you how far we've fallen, or maybe risen since our first episode. The thing I love about Hannah Brown on The Bachelor, every time she shows up, the actual Bachelor guy, Peter's like, "So do you like me?" She's like, "No, just kind of want to be on TV."
Well, yeah, and the first and second guys fucking left her, so you're my third option. You're all I got left.
It was mutual. I mean, those guys brought it up, but it was definitely mutual. All right. This is it, guys. Episode 100. We've dreamt of this moment for I'm going to keep that in the podcast.
We'll cut that out. So
No, we won't.
Considering I have to edit it, I'm just going to
Since it's 100 episodes, how many times have we said, we'll edit that out, and then don't edit it out?
Get too drunk and forget.
Yeah. Although there was a time where, probably like pre-Baby Banner, where Banner would get really meticulous and edit it out, but now we just have too much shit going on. But sneezing humanizes us. The people listening are like, "Oh my god, I sneeze."
Got a lot of stuff to do.
We're too busy.
We're real people too, guys.
Well, speaking of real people start every episode of their movie podcasts on episode 100 off with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is chest day. And as you can tell from the title episode of this is all just a perfect confluence of events. It's the start of a new decade, start of a new year, and our 100th episode. So we thought we would go through and count down our top 5 favorite movies each of the decade. I mean,
did you guys have as hard of a time with this as I did?
I had a pretty hard time. I think we need to really clarify. If you each did something different with your list, feel free to let the people know, because it's kind of the flavor that we bring that makes us unique. But my list is just my 5 most enjoyable movies that I've seen since 2010 started. It doesn't mean I think they're the best movies. Doesn't mean I think they're the best made. Doesn't even mean I've necessarily watched them the most. But they're just my fucking favorite movies in order. Did either of you guys do anything different or more unique or specific that you want to preface your list with?
I just did almost my favorite movies, which I think is almost the bros guide to the decade.
The interesting thing here, we have not shared these with each other before, and we cut it down to just 5, although I do have 2 honorable mentions I'll say at the end. How many? I'm looking at my list. I think there's one that I have that Geiger will have and one that I have that Banner will have, but I think that's probably it.
I might have one that Jeff has, and there's not a chance in there's like a 15% chance I have one that Matt has.
Geiger will throw a fucking curveball at you, man. You don't know that guy's crazy.
I basically did mine. I went and I looked at 2010, 2011, each year individually, and picked out my top 3 to 5 movies for that year. And then I narrowed that down to my favorite movie of each year. And then of those, I picked 5 movies.
And the hardest part is when you get it down to like 12 or 13 and you're like, wow, literally half of you are not going to, over the half of you are not going to make this list. I have 2 honorable mentions that I'll just get to at the end. So, Geiger, why don't you start us off? Number 5, your 5th favorite movie of the past decade.
Okay, some of these are almost the same type of movie, but this one, first off, I'm going to go, since we started off as a comic book movie podcast, my favorite comic book movie of this decade, and maybe ever, besides The Dark Knight, Deadpool came out. I gotta have Deadpool on my list. It is fucking fantastically done. One of the first R-rated movies, right? Superhero movies. It was before Logan, wasn't it?
Definitely the first one with any comedic.
Yeah, I think technically Blade was, but of the modern era. We'll call it of the modern era.
Of the modern era, yeah. Ryan Reynolds basically was born to play this role. He petitioned for this role for, we forget, for like, what, 8 years? Yeah, pretty much a decade before this decade. The other cast, TJ Miller, just lights up the fucking screen. It is very well done, and every single... There's a trend to my 5 movies. Every time they're on, like, FX or something, I just stop down and fucking watch it. And Deadpool is fucking hilarious, and it's almost the only comedy I have. A couple of these other ones, I wouldn't... they're not like Will Ferrell comedies, but they are ones that are very funny. But Deadpool is the first one on my list, man. And check out our movie commentary on it, too, and our comic book movie Madness, where I think it made the national championship, if I'm not mistaken, playing The Dark Knight.
Deadpool was a final cut on my list. It was really hard to do because it was a combination. When I remember showing it to people and they were like, this is like a comic book? Like, what? I was like, yeah, dude. And it was fucking executed perfectly. And I think more than anything, man. Just
like the comics, too. Which is insane.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those movies comedically where I rewatch it and know what's coming. And dude, I don't think there's a single joke in it that doesn't hit. Like, obviously some are funnier than others, but there's not one joke where I'm like, that's not really funny. And there's like 150 jokes in it.
It's really hard to do a raunchy comedy that still has a good story and like gives you the feelies by the end of the movie. And they did that.
So no one else had that?
No.
I didn't have it. It was close, though.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you guys have a favorite line, but I got to say one of, if not my favorite movie lines of all time is in Deadpool. And it's when they're at the bar and Weasel says to Deadpool, look at that guy over there in the corner. Why don't you go talk to him? It might further the plot.
I like what he just said. I would help you, but I don't want to. Like, that's like one of the greatest things ever.
Or how about when he puts the lighter in the guy's mouth and goes, I swear I've never said this before, but don't swallow.
It's such a great, and there's actually, people forget a very serious tone to it because he has cancer and he's trying to find a cure because he's in love and stuff.
Dude, the story's great. Like, that's what makes it so transcendent, is it was able to be absolutely fucking ridiculous and yet somehow have like heart.
Another theme of my movies too, Jeff, is they're all guy bro movies, but like women love them too. So it's like an awesome date movie. Deadpool is an awesome date movie.
I remember the billboards when Deadpool came out around Valentine's Day. It's like trick your girlfriend to go seeing Deadpool. Yeah. It's a romantic comedy, I swear.
Is there a movie of the decade, and I honestly don't think that there is, that marketed better than that movie leading up to the time it came out? The 12 Days of Deadpool, like everything that they did for both movies.
Would have been if it came out in July. They could have done it around like Oceans of Fun and shit, but no.
All right. Someone's still bitter.
All right, Banner, your 5th favorite movie of the past decade.
All right, so this movie is just a ton of fun, and I enjoy every part of it. I think we all agree it's the best of the franchise, and I honestly don't even think it's close. It's Fast 5.
Honorable mention for me.
Yeah.
It was when I went from liking that franchise to falling in love with it.
Yeah. It is a great heist movie. It's the last one where I think everybody really cared and really liked it. The Rock was still a bad guy, so that was fun too.
First movie.
It was the first one with The Rock, yeah.
Guys, we got to remember we're in Brazil.
That and give me the damn veggies. Yeah, I just think it has the best plot outside of the first Fast and Furious of any of the movies.
Agreed.
Great one, Banner. And I had 2 honorable mentions, and that was one of them. Cross it off the
Yeah,
list.
I thought it was going to be high on your list, so
It was nudging that one out just shows you how strongly. I have 2 movies on this list that I think are going to really surprise you guys, but they've really stuck with me over the years. And that one just barely got edged out because of that one. But couple great lines. Movie? Like, my 5th movie is a movie that forever changed cinema, and that's not hyperbolic. It really did. And I remember there are 2 movies on this list that made me cry in theaters. And this one had an iconic scene that will forever go down as one of the greatest scenes of all time, and it is The Avengers in 2012. Yeah. The concept of bringing together 5 different movies into one film was unprecedented. The story just works, man. It's slow. It's a villain that we've already seen, but they develop him more. And that's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry. And he turns into the Hulk on the bridge. I remember just like, I almost had to put my head in my hands because I was like tearing up so much. Like 10-year-old Jeff Hornacek never thought he would see that moment on screen. And it changed movies. Like, it really has. It created the cinematic universe, and it changed not only Marvel, but like DC and now the Monsters universe trying to do it, and Godzilla vs. King Kong, and we're going to get a Transformers G.I. I mean, it changed the way that we view franchise movie building.
Anything can cross over with anything now because of that.
And also, Black, didn't they want to cross over with like 21 Jump Street?
Yeah.
That was like a rumor. Like, everyone's just trying to cross over shit.
But I think above all that, it is just a really good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, it works.
You don't have to have seen the other movies to think that's a good movie, which I think is crazy to think about.
It's
kind of 5 movies coming into one, but you don't have to see those to understand what's going on.
Even with the last act, which I still think is great, it's just like, it's very simple. Like, Loki gets the Tesseract, the Avengers are all on the helicarrier trying to figure out how do we stop him. It's not like with crazy CGI. It's really just these 5 characters in a room trying to figure shit out, and seeing them all on screen together was incredible. All right, let's go snake order. Banner, what's your 4th favorite movie of the decade?
4th favorite movie. I think that this one's going to surprise you guys a little bit. Tron Legacy.
Didn't make my short list, but you know I love Tron Legacy. I think the best score of any movie of all time.
I don't know about all time, but probably of the decade.
Easily.
And it, guys, it was fantastic. The visuals were great. This was one of the first times we really saw de-aging technology, and I thought it worked.
And I'll say this, I love this movie, and I don't give a shit about the original Tron.
I have never seen the original Tron. I've never seen it.
I think I watched it at my cousin's house when I was like 6, and it's awful and looks like dog shit. But I don't care, because this movie's so good.
Yeah, it was great. And again, I've never seen the first Tron. I knew exactly what was going on. They gave me everything that I needed.
Visually, it's a absolutely stunning piece of filmmaking.
Oh, I'm getting a boner thinking about it.
I've had a boner since you mentioned Tron Legacy. Yeah. The sequel to this never happened, which bummed me out because Cillian Murphy, they tease quite a bit in this as the next villain.
Yeah, maybe it'll happen someday.
I don't know, man. I think that ship has fucking sailed, but I hope I'm wrong. All right, Geiger, your 4th favorite movie of the decade.
So my 4th one just came out, and a little preview to our Oscar show. We'll be talking about this, but my favorite director, and probably two of my favorite actors, all in one fucking gorgeous movie, and it's set in 1969 Hollywood, which is probably my favorite year, and my favorite, besides Vegas, probably genre of the United States. So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, even though I've only seen it twice, has to be up there. It's one of Tarantino's probably top 4 movies, top 3 maybe. Once again, I haven't seen it enough to quote it all like Pulp Fiction, where I can, actually have it up against that and give you my honest opinion. Fucking so fun seeing this movie. And part of the thing about going to a movie that you really want to see, the anticipation is almost as fun as seeing it, especially when the anticipation makes you scream at your friend the next morning and start a fucking podcast that we're still doing 4 years. What was it? 3 years from that, from like
Yeah.
Suicide Squad. So when the anticipation actually lives up, and you're like, God, not only was that movie great, I can't wait to fucking see it again, and it's so well done, and the music and the acting and the score and everything that went into it. It was a fucking classic, man, and especially with Tarantino, who is a staple in Hollywood. He'll go down as one of the greatest directors ever that we'll tell our kids about. And he actually made a movie about probably the greatest time in Hollywood in 1969 when our country was going through so many changes. I thought it was just cinematic perfection on screen.
I'm shocked you only have it at your fourth number.
You know, it just came out, so a lot of these other movies I've seen so much that they're really ingrained in me, so...
I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about putting Endgame on this list, but I was like, the feeling that I had in Endgame never would have happened if Avengers didn't happen. And I was like, is there anything that came out this year that was like so good? And I was like, if there was, it would be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's just like you watch it and I'm like, dude, this is why the movies were invented, was to go see something like this. Huge stars crushing a role in a, like, that's what we want, man. Original ideas.
What I love about it is The Revenant was a great film, a fantastic film. I've only watched like one time in my entire life. This movie you can watch like you can just turn on halfway through and, you know, have a beer and eat a burger and stuff and just watch it. It's a chill movie to watch too. An easy movie to watch.
It's like Tarantino, but it's also pretty bro at the same time.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
My number 4 might surprise you guys, only because it's not one we talk about much, but I think it's the most intense and into a movie I've ever been. I mean, at least in like the past 10 years. And that's Prisoners from 2013 with Hugh Jackman.
I forgot about that movie.
This was like the time. This is where Denis Villeneuve like came on the scene for me. Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Terrence Howard, Paul Dano. If you guys don't know the story, basically, Hugh Jackman and Terrence Howard have 2 daughters who are friends, and they're out playing one day in front of their house, and they go missing. And Jake Gyllenhaal is the detective who is on the case and helping them search for them. And Hugh Jackman starts to get really frustrated that he hasn't found their kids, so he's like, fuck this, I'm just going to take this into my own hands. And things escalate really quickly. Jake Gyllenhaal gets like obsessed with the case, and there are some incredible twists and turns, which I obviously won't spoil for anybody that hasn't seen it. But Prisoners is basically a flawless film with 2 of the best performances of the decade. The only performance I think of Hugh Jackman's that rivals this is obviously Logan, with all the emotional weight that he had behind that. And for Gyllenhaal, man, I know like Nightcrawler, he got a lot of praise for, but this is as good as you will see him. Like, it's fucking, and the ending, like the last 30 minutes, I'm not even kidding, I was like biting my fingernails. So fucking intense. And the last twist in it, you're like, holy fucking shit. You're trying to figure this thing out along with him. My mom, I remember watching it with her like on DVD in her living room. Like, we could have paused it and walked away, and the last 10 minutes she's going, oh no, like out loud. Just me and her. So Prisoners, check it out. And the director Denis Villeneuve is the one doing Dune this year.
One of my most anticipated.
For good reason. Looking at that cast. All right, Geiger, your third favorite movie of the last decade.
I know I'm on this guy's dick, but I mean, he gets nominated for like best picture, best screenplay, best director every time he makes a fucking movie. This is another film that every fucking time it's on, I'm like, well, I'm going to watch the rest of this, and that's Django Unchained. That is such a great fucking Tarantino movie. You're telling me that my favorite director is making a Western? I'm in, but it's weird. Like, it's almost like he drew a card like he's playing a game. And they're like, okay, I got to make a Western, but also a Black Power movie somehow ingrained. And he fucking does it. And it totally makes sense. I still think it's Christoph Waltz's best Tarantino character. I know people fight me on that for Inglourious Bastards, but I love him in this as Dr. Scholl's. He is fucking great. Don Johnson makes an appearance. Once again, my boy Leonardo DiCaprio absolutely kills it as in the Candyland fucking scene. Very fun movie. I'm glad they got Jamie Foxx instead of Will Smith, thank God. But man, every time that's on, I gotta fucking watch it.
That was on my short list.
Every time Tarantino's come out with a movie in the last decade, he's outdone himself. But Django Unchained is my number 3.
It's just a lot of fun to watch too, and it's not 65 billion hours long. like The Hateful Eight.
Yeah, it's long, but it just seems quicker. And I guess it's another movie too that I could pop in right in the middle of the movie. I can watch it. I don't even have to watch the end of it. I can just watch 40 minutes of it and just feel fulfilled too, because there's just so much going on. There's so many great scenes in it. And once again, there's some serious scenes and also some funny scenes with Jonah Hill when he's like in the KKK and he can't fucking put the bag over his head. So I don't know, man. That's a closet favorite for me. That's my last Tarantino movie that's going to make the list. So just don't think all my top 5 are Tarantino movies. But fuck, when you make Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Django in a decade, they're both of those are on my top 5.
That I do love that, where like you look at your list and you're like, well, should I not include him because he's Tarantino? But also, you're like, yeah, dude, if I want to put my 5 fucking favorite movies on here, like, sorry, I'm not sorry. I'm a cocksman. He made 2 of them.
Yeah.
Don't apologize. All right, Banner, I'm curious to hear yours because it's getting out of the nitty gritty now.
All right.
So your third favorite movie.
So this movie is, in my opinion, the best animated movie of the decade.
Oh.
We know I had to throw one in there. That's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I thought you were gonna say Trolls.
No, close second though. Yeah. No, this movie is beautifully animated. The sound editing is fantastic, and this soundtrack is fire. I listen to this soundtrack every morning on my way to work. Like it's like my coffee. It's what wakes me up.
Clever from it, and then it's time.
It's fantastic, and it's the Spider-Man that we haven't seen yet. We've seen Peter Parker and Uncle Ben die, and we've seen all of that. We've seen that teenage Yunks kid of Peter Parker, that kind of smart-assy guy. Now we get Miles Morales, which is it was fantastic. It's the story that we need a live action this.
I think what's so great is they did Miles, and Peter Parker is like a huge character in the movie too.
Yeah, he is.
Like a huge character. And then of course Liev Schreiber is Kingpin. Everything about it worked, man. And I went into it like I was like, I don't know. Animated Spider-Man film, sure, I'll check it out. I like Spider-Man, but this thing blew me away. It's kind of crazy that 2 movies from the last year and a half already make this list.
Yeah.
All right. My third movie. I already lost my list. Let me pull it up here. Okay. My third movie is a movie that had a very emotional reaction for me, and that is this is going to surprise you guys, but the movie Like Crazy from 2011. This was with Anton Yelchin and Felicity. Anton Yelchin obviously, unfortunately, passed away a few years later. Felicity Jones' star has blown up. She was Jyn Erso in Rogue One. She was Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I mean, she's all over the place. I think the reason I like this movie, I typically don't like romantic dramas. And the only reason this is really on my list is like at the time I saw this in my life, I was like just graduating college, kind of getting out of a relationship. But I think more than anything, it made me realize that like sometimes in life, whether it's a relationship or even your friends, like people just don't click, and that's okay. You know, like we've all had friends we've said goodbye to, or relationships we've said goodbye to. And this movie was like the best acted, best written, most emotional movie that I ever saw that didn't annoy me. Typically movies that like try to get an emotion out of you, like make you cry. I'm like, dude, fuck off. I don't want that. And this one I was like crying. I was like, fuck off. So Like Crazy is really, really, really good. Like if you guys have not seen it, watch it with your wife. It's basically Anton Yelchin and Felicity Jones. Anton Yelchin's like a teaching assistant in college, and she's a senior. And they start a relationship, but she's actually from England and he's from the United States. And they stay together, but like it just doesn't work. It's actually the first movie I think Jennifer Lawrence was ever in also. But the point of it is like they try to keep making it work, and eventually they come to realization like, all right, we either need to like go all in on this thing or just not let it happen. And it's not really comedic, but something about it, man, just has stuck with me way over the years. My mom and I watch together almost like once a year, and it's just, I mean, this is the last movie on this list that I think you guys will be like, really? Because the list is about to change up a lot for me, but Like Crazy from 2011, my third favorite movie of the decade, and I watch it every year, and it's just fucking awesome filmmaking. All right, Banner, it's not a fucking joke anymore. the top two. What is your second favorite movie of the past decade?
Hold on, I'm eating a brownie.
While you're eating
All
on
right, let's
pot.
just go to Geiger then.
You want me to go? Okay.
Yeah. It's probably a
Uh,
pot brownie too, actually.
My
Once
bad, guys.
again, every time this movie's on, gotta stop down and watch it. For some reason, women like this movie, and I'm off Tarantino's dick, but I'm still on Leo's because The Wolf of Wall Street is one of the greatest fucking movies I've ever seen.
Let me say this. Sorry, interject real quick. I'm amazed based on like the subject matter of this movie that they're able to put this on network TV so much, and I still enjoy it because you
I
have
know,
to edit out like every third.
Once again, probably one of Jonah Hill's. I mean, he does so many characters I love, but this is probably my favorite one. It introduced us to Margot Robbie, who has become probably, what do you think, a top 5 female actress in Hollywood now? Maybe even top 3?
Top two.
I'd say top 2 or 3,
I mean, she is fucking red hot right now.
We're
They
in
want her in
Starship,
everything.
sure. Yeah.
Just this year, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Bombshell, and I think she was in something else too. And Leo with Scorsese was fucking perfect. It was just coming from somebody, if you've ever been in sales, is just, we always had Glenn Ross, which actually isn't that good a movie.
So overrated, dude.
It's not that good a movie at all. Boiler Room is a good movie, but we haven't had a really good sales movie in a while, and this is the sales movie for the new millennium, and it is just fantastic, just line after line. Once again, a movie that I wouldn't classify it as a comedy, but it has made me laugh harder than any comedy I've seen probably in the last fucking 5 to 10 years. It's so fucking great. So good.
The scene where Leo gets up and plans on quitting and then ends it with, I'm not fucking going anywhere. Who of us haven't been in that position? Like, you get up to say one thing, and by the end of it, you're like, oh, fuck that. No.
When McConaughey says jerking off 3 times a day is rookie numbers, that's like in one of the first scenes, too. I look at my wife, I'm like, this is going to be a really good fucking movie. And then they do that chest bump thing that I almost do every time before I go to the gym or do something fucking stupid or take a shot with my boys. It's such a good movie.
It's incredible. And I'll be honest, the first time I saw it, I was like, that was a good movie, but there was nothing about it that I was like, this is like all-time legendary. Every time I watch it, I'm like, you dumb motherfucker, Jeff. How did you not appreciate it? It's
Bernthald's in it, too.
I forgot. Oh,
That,
one of the greatest lines
introduces
ever.
him.
Sell me this pen. All right, write your name down.
I don't have a pen. There you go. Fucking supply and demand.
And like
That's my
throws
boy.
the pen at him across the table. All right, Boehner, the much anticipated, because the brownie got in the way, your second favorite movie of the decade.
Rogue One.
Wow!
I almost picked that, actually.
Felicity Jones back to back on the list.
Yeah. As I was making my list, like I said, I went through and did the best movies of every year and kind of ranked them that way. And this movie it popped out at me. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, this is a fan-fucking-tastic movie, beginning to end. And it was all created off of a paragraph that was wrote in the 70s.
That's awesome.
And it fits perfectly into a franchise, one of the biggest franchises in the world. The score was awesome. The story was awesome. They ended it right. There is nothing about that movie that I think they did wrong. Even we kind of complained about the planet jumping at the beginning, but they had to do that, and it made sense why they did that. And it all worked. I loved every bit about it.
It was probably the only time a Star Wars movie since Disney took it over that I went in with huge expectations and left fulfilled. I would say The Force Awakens was close to that, but nowhere near Rogue One, where I'm like, God, this was fucking great.
See, I went in the opposite. I went in going, I don't think this is going to be a good movie. It's a movie I want, but I don't think it's going to be good. And I was blown out of the water.
James Earl Jones is back. I thought it was going to be fucking fantastic.
When I remember the concept of it, I was sold on. First 10 minutes I was weary of. By the end of it, especially that end scene, it's fucking incredible. It's just like
to nominate that for best scene of the decade.
Where does it rank for you? I think we've asked this on our Star Wars Movie Madness. Where does it rank for you among Star Wars movies?
So it used to be, I think I had it 4th, but since going back and rewatching all of them in order, and then finally with Rise of Skywalker, this has moved up to probably 2 behind Empire. Guys, it is a really good movie. If you haven't visited it in a while, you need to go back.
Is Cycles still episode 3, episode 1, and then the rest of them in whatever order you want to put them? I think that's his order for Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I think that's something like that. He
He's
probably has Last Jedi up there too.
No, he hated that like the rest of us, but he does love the prequels.
All right, my number 2, and I'm gonna butcher the quote, so I won't even say it. Geiger, it's 21 Jump Street. What's my favorite quote from Channing Tatum in the science class? What do they say about
a whatever neuron at this school or whatever?
Fuck, I'm butchering it. People at home are gonna kill me, but
what do they say about a covalent bond at this school?
Oh yeah, what do they? I'm smart. I know everything. You know nothing. What do they say about a covalent bond at this school? The kid's like, I don't think you know everything. 21 Jump Street. I probably watch it the most of any movie on. The Avengers is close, but any movie on this list. It's my favorite comedy of the past decade. Geiger, Banner, and I quote it religiously, so much so that we probably don't even realize we're quoting it.
Ja feel?
Oh, Ja definitely feel. If I were to get something tattooed on my body, it would probably be infiltrate the dealer, find the supplier. But what if we did infiltrate the dealer?
God damn it.
He's like, it's so fucking simple. How serious are you taking this? I found a college application on your desk. I don't know, man.
Rob Riggle as the teacher, the PE teacher, is fucking hilarious.
Put your tongue back in your mouth. I take that as a threat.
You guys on drugs? Oh.
What, Geiger, the quote in the beginning when the guy's on the drugs and he asks the girl to prom. Tina, I have a question for you, but I already know the answer. It's yes.
Channing Tatum's laughs like, this dude's awesome.
I don't know, man. It's so fucking good. And for me, the first time I saw Brie Larson, obviously we had no idea what she was going to become. Dave Franco's fucking hilarious in it. I mean, 21 Jump Street. It's one of the best comedies of all time. I don't think it's a crazy thing to say, right?
No, that's true.
No.
It's fucking incredible. And I was going through the list. I was like, a comedy has to be on here. The Breakup wasn't quite in the time period. Wedding Crashers wasn't there. Anchorman wasn't there. And 21 Jump Street is at least has a fighter's chance against any of those movies. It's the funniest movie I've seen in the last 10 years.
I think we're all going to have the same number 1.
No,
we're not. There's no way.
All right.
I mean, I'd be shocked, but
then if you want me to go, my number 1?
Oh, that's a good
Okay, I hope this is your guys' number 1, because if not, I don't know why the fuck you don't have it on your top 5, but my number 1's Get Out. Get Out is, without a doubt, probably the greatest movie I've ever seen in a theater. It was something that my wife asked me to go to. I was just like, I'm not really sure what this is.
We were bought into the Rotten Tomatoes hype, right? That's what got all of us to go. I was like 100%. Like no one is.
I remember it was a time we were going to the movies a lot because we're doing a lot of movie reviews. And I remember seeing the trailer and I was like, that looks kind of cool. And my wife kept saying, there's a huge twist to it. We got to go. I'm like, fine, I'll go.
But we were like, Jordan Peele, really? Like,
yeah, I didn't know he had that in him. And halfway through the movie, I'm like, this might be the best movie I've seen in a really long time. And at the end, I'm like, wow, and every single time I watch it, I catch little things like the dad giving hints like, we're not who you think we are. And there's
black
so
mold in the basement.
You can have such a deeper conversation to it that, do certain white people not like black people, or are they jealous of them? Because a lot of hatred spans from jealousy. And I think he tapped that thing, and it's something that no one has ever really thought of.
He's half black, half white, so he has like the coolest perspective on this of anyone.
And not only that, just the thing in the movie, it's extremely well acted. Daniel Kaluuya, I mean, the cast in that is so fucking well done. The score too is fucking awesome. And
the score is amazing.
And it is the definition of not a horror movie, a thriller. That is the definition of a thriller, where the whole third act, I'm just on the edge of my seat, wanting to scream, "Get out! Kick his ass!" The whole time.
But it doesn't need like a jump scare to get you, right? There's not like a cat that runs out of the darkness.
It's very suspenseful.
It's just very suspenseful the whole time. And then when he's trying to drive off, and the cop stops him, and man, I thought it was, and even the other endings I heard, I'm like, dude, I don't know. You could have done any ending. I still think that movie was just so fucking well done. I mean, you can't do any ending and have it good, but the other endings I've heard that were rumored were fucking perfect too, man. It was just a great fucking movie. I can't believe you guys don't have it on your top 5. That's insane.
I mean, Matt, I would have voted for Obama a third time. When the guy
Well, I mean, you're racist then if you don't have that on your top 5, because that's one of the greatest movies I've ever fucking seen.
Agreed. That's a good one. All right, Banner. Favorite movie of the past decade?
I don't think we're gonna be surprised by this. Logan.
Wow.
No. Yeah, I mean, no. Like I'm not surprised. Yeah. It's incredible.
This has been my favorite comic book character for as long as I can remember, for 30 years. I have loved Wolverine. And then what Hugh Jackman did with Wolverine throughout all of the other movies, to see that come to an end, I think that Patrick Stewart got snubbed for a supporting actor, at least nomination.
Yeah.
But again, it's kind of like Endgame in a different way. It is a beautiful bow on top, the cap to the end. And thinking about it, this is the only movie that I cried in the theaters watching in the whole decade. This is the only one. And that meant a lot.
And 2 things about that film. One, the ending scene where the kids are all around his wooden grave reminded me of John Wayne from the Cowboys, which was really cool. They kind of paid him. I don't know if they meant to do that, but that was really cool. And the other is I remember leaving the theater and we all watched it, not together because we were all living in different places, but I remember me and Jeff texting Banner, like, congratulations. Like, he just had a kid or a kid graduated high school. Himself, or he made the film. We're like, congratulations, man. You deserve this. Congratulations.
But he was taking the praise, like, thank you. Yeah. I worked hard on this.
Guys, when you're the Fox guy, you gotta take what you can get.
Banner's like, you had a 7:05 showtime. It's 10:45, and you're only now texting me. I'm just wondering what took you so long to send over the message.
It was really fucking awesome, though. Check out our movie commentary on that too. So.
I cried in that too.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was weird. I couldn't help it. It's like a natural reaction.
Okay. James Mangold also did Ford vs. Ferrari, which I really want to check out from this past year. Who did Logan? My number one might surprise you guys, but I'm pretty sure you both really, really love this as a movie. And now that I think about it, it just combines everything that I love. And it's actually my favorite book that I've ever read. It was a book that I read at a time when I was not reading. I mean, not that I read much now, but I was compelled to read it because of the idea behind it. And the movie was basically flawless. And that is 2011's Moneyball.
Yeah. Wow, that's your number one.
Wow.
That's my number one movie. It's really, really good.
It is.
Really. It is a great movie.
And it's Brad Pitt in a role we don't normally get to see him in, which I thought was really kind of fun. Jonah Hill's on this show a lot.
He is.
Yeah.
Certainly so. He can be the funniest guy in the room, or he can be like the most serious Oscar winning. He's a great actor.
There's a line in Moneyball that I absolutely love because I think I've kind of realized that I epitomize this as well. And he goes, when Billy Beane is talking to the A's, trying to get them to embrace the strategy of like, take more pitches. We don't have a lot of like 40 to 50 home run guys, if any, on this team. So how about we try and not swing on 3-1? Because even if we square one up, we might just hit a single into right field. And he goes, guys, I hate losing. I hate losing even more than I want to win. And to me, that line is so great because it says so much by saying so little. Like, this isn't even so much about winning. I just don't like fucking losing.
I love that movie because it really gets into the thing, because around that time, I believe, is when Theo Epstein and the Red Sox won, and then he was going to go to Chicago. And Billy Beane was one of the first guys to use it. I can't remember the math guy that actually wrote the book. Not Moneyball, but whatever. Bill James. Bill James actually kind of came out with everything. But it does raise a huge amount of questions, and this is about with any sport where like you're paying athletes sometimes not just for the numbers, but also for the money they bring, with State Farm commercials or Nike ads and stuff like that. The only part I hate about this movie is when you're watching it with your wife or something, like, so they didn't have any good players, but they like won.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I said they had the
big
best
three.
They had like the fucking best pitching staff in baseball.
Agreed.
And if you're going to win games, and go to World Series. I mean, they didn't go to World Series, but go to the playoffs. You got to have a really good pitching staff and a good bullpen, and they probably had arguably the best pitching staff in baseball. And Miguel Tejada roided it out, and Eric Chavez roided it out on their fucking gills.
Sure. The reason, so I'm going to pull a page out of Banner's book, pun completely intended here. In reading the book before seeing the movie, so the movie is an incredible narrative. They give you enough of Billy Bean's like personal life to where you care, but not enough to where you're bogged down in it. And it's so well made, man. It's so well shot. But in the book, they talk about how Billy Bean said, we have these 3 pitchers who we think can neutralize the AL West offense, meaning now we're back to a level playing field with them. So instead of the Texas Rangers scoring 8 runs a game, we think we can keep them to 5. So now how do we get an offense that can score 5 a night? And that's where Moneyball came in.
I wish they would have went into more of that in the movie. Basically like, hey, we're going to get destroyed by all these teams. However, we got the best pitching staff. So if we can just get a run a night somehow from taking another walk or doing something else, that's how we're going to do it. So we need people to get on base to basically, like he said, like switch the odds on Vegas. We got to switch the odds on the casino.
Is it we are the last mouth to the tit. You know what happens to us?
It is true, man. If you're a baseball fan though, Jeff, like you are, I mean, it's insane that the A's are relevant every fucking year, and I can't name you a starter right now.
Yeah. And Philip Seymour Hoffman as Art Howe, lest we forget.
Chris
Robin
Pine.
Wright is Billy Bean's wife. Chris Pine is Scott Hatterberg. I love the line where he goes, first base isn't that hard. Tell him, Wash. It's incredibly hard. We want you to play first base, Scott. And Chris Pratt goes, what about the fans? And Ron Washington goes, yeah, maybe we just ask one of them.
Former Texas Ranger, great man.
Great.
I met him outside of a hotel, chain smoking cigarettes. One of the nicest guys I've ever met.
That doesn't sound like him, but yeah, you win us 2 American League championships. You smoke whatever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want. And yes, he was caught in the dugout one time on camera, but take off the white wig.
Jesus.
All right, do you guys have any honorable mentions? I just have one. I had Fast Five. Of course, Banner mentioned it. Before I get to that, I want to give you guys...
I just stuck to my 5. Stuck to my guns.
The Space Between Us.
All right. Any real ones?
Winter Soldier, Magnificent Seven, World War Z.
Magnificent Seven, nice.
Wow.
Maybe the first movie we ever reviewed on the podcast.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I think it was.
My only honorable mention is another movie that made me, the only animated movie that has ever made me cry in theaters, because I think when I saw Up, it just happened so fast I didn't really get the intro. Second rewatch, I cried at it. But Toy Story 3, very beginning of the decade in 2010. At the time in my life, I was graduating college, and Andy is about to go to college, and he's like giving away his toys. And it really felt like I was watching kind of a part of my own childhood, because Andy, they really kind of mirrored with us in terms of his growth and development. And that just hit me hard, man, in the theaters. And I've gone back and rewatched it, and everything with Lotso and fucking Michael Keaton as Ken is criminally underrated. He is so goddamn funny in that movie. Toy Story 3 didn't quite make my list, but it's right on the fringes. All right, before we move on for Chest Day, since it is our 100th episode, and we've been coming to you guys for, what, now, like 3 years and 2-ish months, 3 months, we wanted to each share some of our favorite moments from the podcast. Boehner, Geiger, do either of you guys have anything prepared, or do you want me to start this one off?
I mean, I have something prepared, yeah.
Go, Geiger. Say a few words.
So my favorite one is the Dark Knight movie commentary, where Banner just basically goes MIA for literally like an hour and a half. Like, we didn't know if he was high, or if he hated something we said, or was going to quit the pod, or basically just didn't have anything to say. But if you go check out that movie commentary, literally he is on it for like the first 20 minutes, and then you like don't hear him for like an hour and a half. And then just like the athlete and the competitor that I know he is, he texts us the next day and patted his chest like, hey, my bad. I just did a little too much drugs, and that won't happen again. Not the drug part. I'm still going to do drugs, but I'm just going to talk more while I do them. Very class act.
I think I have held true to that.
Except
for Hocus Pocus.
You still will drink and smoke on the pod, but you do talk more. So that's a good... It's a good thing. But that was my favorite one, because the whole time me and Jeff are like, what's this guy's deal? Just like Derek at the at the dinner table. Like, what's this guy's deal? I don't know.
I don't know, son. I was asking about the story. That was when we were trying to do or not. I guess we did all but like one, but we were doing commentaries of all the final 4 members of our comic book movie madness. I think
That was exhausting.
I remember I really noticed it, that one scene where it's like Gordon is outside of his office and he schedules a meeting with Harvey Dent. I was like, I don't think Banner's talked in like 30 minutes.
I know. Jeff doing Michael Caine had more airtime than Banner actually talking, which is.
Fair, that was
I don't
like
know
40.
what my deal was that day. It was rough.
All right, Banner, favorite moment or moments from the pod?
Fuck, I just had one. I forgot.
I'll say a quick one. The intro we talked about off the top, but I did have it written down in the show notes as proof. A real quick one. The intro to our Beauty and the Beast live action review.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Bonjour. Bonjour.
That was
the
like
Planet of the Apes one that we did was pretty good too.
Yeah, that one's a pretty good one too.
That's an all-timer, yeah. It's up there. All right,
That's
Ben,
right.
So I first off want to thank all of our fans because 100 episodes is a lot.
It is. Thank you.
It's too much.
I would have to say probably the Star Wars golf scramble.
Yeah.
On was that Return of the Jedi?
The Return of the Jedi
Empire
Rogue One
Memorial 2-man shamble or whatever.
Yeah.
Where Vader and the Emperor just win it every year somehow because they use the Force.
It's a little suspicious.
Not even
People
fair.
have started to talk.
That was
Tell me you didn't
was
use the Force on that 4-foot putt. He's like, no.
I heard they make you take a vacation day from the Empire to even play in it.
Yeah. It's not even a free day off.
he's advertising for his Death Star internships.
Oh yeah, God, we went into that, like recruiting an intern for the Death Star for the summer. We promise it won't get blown up this summer. Jesus Christ. That's one thing. I'm ready for The Rise of Skywalker to come out. Geiger, you just do the commentary. You don't even have to watch the
That'll
movie.
be the first time I see it when we do the commentary, which would be a weird little wrinkle to do.
Is that it, Banner? Do you have another one?
No, that's all I've got off the top of my head.
Mine is a movie commentary, one of our personal favorites, one of our definitely drunkest, that brought us a couple great moments. And that is the D2 The Mighty Ducks movie commentary.
God.
Now, a few things that I want to take you back to if you're at home. Banner was basically blacked out drunk on this one, but
I'm hungover thinking about it.
There, of course, was the Hans Jans situation, where Hans from the first movie is not in it, but instead they just bring in his never-before-mentioned brother, Jans, played by another Swedish actor, to literally just play the same role. And he has apparently the same relationship with Gordon Bombay. This took us a long time to wrap our head around.
I still don't think I understand.
Cycly seemed to have no issue with it. We were like, you're just going to give him a fucking free pass on this?
Whoever brought that up at the meeting table at Disney is probably over the Star Wars franchise now, because that was a brilliant fucking idea.
Yeah. So there's that, of course. One thing, okay, so this is back when, and we need to bring this back on movie commentaries, but at the end we would do anthology movies. Like each of us would have an idea for a spin-off in the same universe as the movie we just saw. And Banner, yours was great, and by great I mean absolutely awful, when you connected D2 The Mighty Ducks to Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't exactly remember how, but I think Drax was related to Goldberg somehow.
Yeah, it was something like that. I don't remember.
I
don't even remember.
Even better and much, much darker was, do you guys remember I went back and re-listened to this. Do you remember Cycly's idea for an anthology movie?
It was Gunner Stall, but it was like
He called it Gunner, the Stall story.
Yeah. He like comes back home from war and the country doesn't want anything to do with him because he lost the Junior Goodwill Games.
Gunner Stall, knowing that Julie the cat can't save Stickside, still decides to shoot to her glove. He returns home to Iceland, and he is a social pariah. Him and his family are basically banished. He resorts to alcoholism at the age of 14. His mother kills herself in his anthology movie.
Jesus.
And he has to take care of his two younger sisters. And it just gets really morose. And I remember Geiger said, "So how does it end?" And he's like, "The same way all of our lives end, man, with death." And you're just like, Jesus Christ.
Joaquin Phoenix plays Gunnar Stahl.
Yeah, basically. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it. And then one other thing, totally unrelated, but I think our Jurassic Park movie commentary, which I myself wasn't even on, has the greatest line in the history of the Bro Force Squad.
It is.
Do you guys remember this line? You were
100%.
performing
100%.
a sexual act on a woman with a fossilized raptor hand.
Yeah, I said it. It was like
Two in the
pink, claw in the stink.
Yeah.
I mean, we should have just ended the pod that day.
Yeah, we should have made shirts on that, actually. Dude, actually, one more thing I want to talk about, which I don't think it gets much love, and we've only done it twice, but it's because me and Jeff, when we drink by the pool, like to come up with movie trailers. But our Air Force 1, 2, and Hurricane Heist off the Richter scale movie trailers. If you haven't checked out those, the Hurricane Heist one is just a video of itself, and the Air Force 1, 2...
Which is the best title we've ever thought of.
And I actually had to get my wife to do a line on it, and she's like, "So I just read this," and she's like, "That didn't sound very good." I'm like, "It makes it sound better that you sound like you're reading it, actually."
I remember Geiger saying, like, "We'll keep tape rolling. Just give us a couple options."
You guys didn't tell me you were doing this, and all of a sudden I get like a text message that's an audio clip of the trailer. I had no idea what it was.
I wish people at home could see Geiger and I when we get in these moods and work. It's like the montage in Jerry Maguire when he writes his fucking manifesto. Like, you just don't sleep, you know? It's like nothing else matters.
The Hurricane Heist off the Richter scale trailer took us 3 hours to complete. It took us 5 minutes to think of, but then we're by the pool, so the other 2.5 hours was spent drinking and tanning, and then we went inside and then taped it like in one fucking shot. That's pretty much all it did. But they're really good, and if you like us doing voices and doing really stupid shit, check those out. And if you want more, we're thinking about doing a Transformers one, or if you want us to do one, just fucking send it to us, and we'll try to come up with something.
Just send us a really stupid sequel idea, and we can do the rest.
Yeah.
Based on that. All right. Show's running a bit long, but it's our 100th episode. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Let's move on to the next part of our show, our protein shake, where we go around and talk about what's in our cup, also known as what have we watched lately. Banner, why don't you go first? What have you seen lately?
Alrighty. So, do you want to do High School Musical, the series now?
Let's do it.
All right. So, I watched the season finale of High School Musical, the series.
Entitled Act 2, which I thought everything, including plays, had 3 acts. So why the fuck?
I didn't get it either, but it's fine. Just roll with it. It's fine.
Yes.
I think this is the best put together episode of the season, top to bottom. I think every actor and actress knew exactly where they needed to be and who they were. I think that they did a good job of kind of wrapping up this season, but still giving us enough to go, whoa, wait a minute, what's going to happen next season? Drawing us back in for another season. Top to bottom, I think this is the best episode. Nene, in particular, this was hands down her best episode.
I was least annoyed with her in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah. That actress, I don't know her name, and I'm not going to look it up because we're the Bro Force Squad. We don't do that. She has a lot of talent. The way they write her, though, she has how many of these she has to do every episode? Ricky? Yeah. That's half her lines.
She does is not benefiting from the writing for sure, but I don't know. The way that she just talks, it's like she's trying too hard.
I liked that we're soaring, we're flying, finally. Give me some fucking music.
Oh, my God.
EJ's character had a nice little end. I went from really hating it. But I actually kind of started to feel bad for him towards the end. I mean, he's only co-captain of the water polo team banner. It's not like he's literally drowning in pussy. I mean, he's treading water in it, but he.
I guess.
So we're gonna get a season 2 because it's Disney Plus.
Real quick, best scene: Big Red tap dancing. Holy shit!
Worst scene for me. Get him the fuck out. I don't like Big Red the gum. I don't like Big Red the character. Enough said. So for season 2, Miss Jen, I have a couple questions for you, and these are just off the cuff. I didn't write these down. Miss Jen and Ricky's dad. Is that over? Is she gonna fuck the robotics teacher?
See,
I think she's over Ricky's dad.
I think she's over Ricky's dad too. I think that she sees Ricky's dad with Ricky's mom and Tim, or whatever the fuck his name was.
He fucked that up. Yeah. Are they swinging? What is that situation?
No, they're divorced. And
I know, but like, that was weird. They hugged. He introduced her still as like he's trying to fuck Miss Jen, but he like introduced her to his ex-wife who's on a date there with another man. Is Ricky's dad into Tim?
Maybe. I mean, I could see that. Maybe that's why they got divorced.
Does Gina stay in town with the redheaded chick who I can't think of her name?
Ashlyn, yes. Which I almost called that shit, but I said it was going to be Nene instead of Ashlyn.
How rich is Ashlyn's family? She can just pick up 17-year-old orphans without even consulting her parents.
Yeah, that's true.
And then my last question, the big one, what does Nene do with that preparatory school? Does she go? Her and Ricky just got back together. Like, you're going to fucking walk out on this now?
She's going to try and back out, but Ricky's going to say, no, you have to do this. I love you. You should go. It's going to be fine. But then it's not going to be fine. And he's going to end up fucking Gina.
He's going to accidentally bang Gina. We've all been there.
Yep.
Wow. Good stuff. Overall, good season. I went from ironically watching this show to unironically watching this show to now, I don't want to say I'm like on pins and needles for season 2, but just let me know when it comes out, Disney Plus, and fuck off. I'll watch it. Fine. You win.
Ricky Gervais. Fuck off.
Fuck off. He's not my friend. He's yours. All right. What else?
All right. So it was going around Netflix the other day, and they shoved this down my throat and said, hey, you might like this. And my God, were they right. It's called The Circle. And it's not the movie.
You told me to watch this.
It's super interesting. So it's basically Big Brother, but they only do it through social media. So they have like this new like social media thing that's only for the players. It's called The Circle. And people have their own little apartments that they live in, and they communicate and they get to know each other through social media, and then they vote people out. And there are people that are catfishing, and
so the people vote them out.
Not like us people, like the other people in the game. It's almost exactly like Big Brother in that aspect.
Are there people that are like told to catfish, or they just do it on their own because they're fucking
They just do it on their own, and they talk about why they are doing that. I am so glad Cycly watched this, because I'm gonna have to talk to him about it. It's very, very interesting how you see people's actual personality because they're talking to themselves in the apartment, but then they have a different personality online, even if they're playing themselves. Or how you act is super superficial.
Okay. Cycly texted this to me literally today, and I was kind of confused. The way you just described it, I'm very intrigued now. Because to me, the phenomena, and Geiger and I have talked about this a lot, like the modern day, like you can be anybody you want on the internet. Watching that play out in real time, interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting. I really, really enjoy it. They're dropping it weekly on Netflix, interestingly enough. Yeah, new episodes every week. So
have they ever done that with another show in like modern history?
I mean, they had a couple of like weekly like talk shows. What the fuck was that called? There was one on there that did that, but it was about current events. It was like a night show.
Well, I guess you like can't get 4 episodes ahead on that.
Yeah. So yeah, I watched that. Then I hadn't seen it yet, but the live action Aladdin.
You hadn't seen it yet?
I hadn't seen it yet.
Really?
Yeah. It is fantastic. I don't know. I enjoyed every bit of it. It's hands down the best live action movie.
It's on Disney Plus already?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Lion King will be on January 28th.
Did you not a single gripe? Like, come on, give me something.
I mean, Jafar was awful.
Yeah.
I have a mission for you.
I thought that the guy that played Aladdin, I couldn't decide if he was a good actor, a bad actor, or a good dancer or a bad dancer, because they did some weird like speed up and slow down at times. Like, I don't know. There were some of the shots, how they did it. It was weird looking, but overall, I thought it was great.
It is. Yeah, I agree. It's the best Disney live action movie. And Geiger and I went into it trying to hate it. I was looking for shit to dislike.
Will
but
Smith,
40 minutes in, I was like, God damn it, I'm having fun.
Will Smith, I thought, did a fantastic job of making the genie his own, but still kind of paying homage, but not ruining him.
He figured it out. Like, if this is going to work, I can't try to be more Robin Williams than Robin Williams. I'll, like, collapse under that pressure.
Yeah.
All right, you see anything else?
As soon as we watched that, we decided to watch the cartoon or the animated Aladdin. And guys, it holds up. It's great. Yeah. Check out our movie commentary on that one.
That movie commentary, I believe, is when the Domino's
Pizza guy came in. Yep.
Comes into my apartment and he jumps on real quick. I don't think he actually believed we were doing a podcast.
Yeah,
Like,
he's just like, what?
He's like, hit me? Or like, yes, I'll fucking tip you. Just come here. All right, Geiger, how about you? What's in your cup?
So I just finished I'm going to talk about this next. I'm just going to tease a little bit. But the Aaron Hernandez, because I want you guys to watch it so we can have a deeper discussion on it. That just dropped on Netflix.
I promise I'll watch it by next episode.
I watched all 3 episodes. It's really fucking good. Once you start it, it's like the OJ thing. Once you start it, you'll finish it. I started a show called The Sun. It came on AMC. I'm watching it on Hulu with Pierce Brosnan. It's a Western, takes place in Texas. I'm 2 episodes in, and I would kind of like Thurman to start watching it too. And Banner, you might like it as well. But
what's the time period of it? Is it like close to modern day? Like what's that fucking
no, like
Yellowstone?
Western, like
oh, okay.
I mean, Apache Indians are in it and shit, and they're battling the Mexicans because it's way down South Texas. It's fucking pretty good.
What is Pierce Brosnan's accent?
It is perfect.
Really?
Yes.
He can do a Southern?
I didn't know that either. Whenever I was like, dude, I don't have any problem with Pierce Brosnan. And when I started watching it, I'm like, good God, I didn't know he had this in him.
If the casting director came to me and said, I want Pierce Brosnan, I'd be like, this is a Western. You know that, right?
You're going to dig him in this. You're
What's it called
be
again?
Like me. You're going to have one eyebrow raised, and then after he like does like a couple fucking scenes, you're going to be like, okay, I'm in now.
And it's like recent or like newer?
Yeah, it's recent. I think they're just doing season 2 right now.
I have Hulu as fuck, and I will watch that.
Go check it out. It's really fucking good. And other than that, Jeff, do you just want to talk about The Bachelor?
Yeah, I have 2 things real quick. They're older movies I want to talk about. I rewatched Up in the Air. Have either of you guys seen this with George Clooney?
I love that movie.
It's so fucking good, dude.
And with the chick from the hotel commercials,
Anna Kendrick.
Yeah.
But this is the first thing I ever saw her in. But I knew Geiger. I knew you'd love it. But Jason Bateman's in it. I forgot about that too. Actually, the concept of it is incredible. And Jason Reitman wrote and directed. I mean, I don't know if he wrote it, but he definitely directed it. And he's doing. His dad Ivan Reitman wrote and directed the first 2 Ghostbusters back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And Jason Reitman, who did this movie, is doing the new Ghostbusters movie this year. And that gives me hope because I did not know he did Up in the Air. That
on Netflix, right?
I
feel like it is.
It is on Netflix.
Because me and my wife watched it like a month ago, I think.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
Good, man. And it's weird because, oh, man, if you think about it, like the plot, like if I were to sit down and describe the movie to you, like this is how it starts, the middle, and the end, you'd be like, well, that just sounds like one act of a movie. Like really nothing happens. But the way it just so much character, like George Clooney in this, he's the smartest guy in the room, but also the most clueless guy in the room at the same time.
If you're in sales or you work like a 9-to-5 job, or if you travel a lot for your job, you will love this fucking movie.
Yeah. I forgot how fucking good it was, dude. It's probably like one day we'll have to sit down and put this list together, but it's a top 100 movie of all time for me, I
Wow.
think. And it might be like a top not 85. Like it just the whole time I was like, dude, I'm in this. It's just really good. It's just really good fucking filmmaking. I don't know. And I know as having a movie podcast, I should be able to elaborate more than that, but if you've seen Up in the Air, you know it. It's so simplistic but so good. Like it doesn't have to do something crazy. It doesn't have to throw its tits in your face for you to like it.
You
And
guys are
Danny
keeping
McBride
track at home. We're like at like beer 3 of the 5 for the show.
well, I'm drinking a mixed drink, so like
Whoa.
grade me on a curve. The last one I watched, and again, I had pre-watched this movie at a 0.5 out of 5. Basically meaning that's the rating I give it before I go in and watch it. And when I watch this movie, before I tell you the title, I'll be honest, I was scouting it for a movie commentary for us. I went in trying to see like, all right, do they blitz on third and medium? You know, what do they do? And I illegally acquired it on my Amazon Fire Stick in HD, I might add. The Commuter.
Wow. Brag much?
With Liam Neeson, where once again Liam Neeson plays, stop me if you've heard this before, a retired cop who is forced to use violence again against his best wishes. He doesn't want to.
Does he have like a wife or a significant others? Like you promised that all that was behind us.
Of course he does, Matt.
He's like, this time's different.
There's a scene. I'm not even kidding you. I was really, really sick last Friday, and so I was watching this movie, and I was laying on my couch, and there's a scene, as in all these movies, about. I bet in all these movies, it's like the 15 to the 19 minute mark when he gets the phone call from the guy telling him who he has to kill. And he gets the phone call, and they, whatever, the mission. And I'm laying on the couch by myself in my apartment, and I go, do you have his wife and kids? And then they go, well, let me talk to my wife and daughter. And they're like, if you want to talk to them, Rick, you'll have to kill these. I don't want to do it. I won't do it. Let me. I don't understand. It's so fucking great. And it really, pun intended, really derails at the very end of the second act, start of the third act. But it derails so badly, like, it all of a sudden becomes this CGI heavy, like, explosion shit, and like trains are fucking flipping. And I think someone
we've got to do this commentary.
Well, I think someone at the studio came in and goes, what the fuck happens in the second act? Yeah. And the director's like, I can fix it. Because the last 20 minutes, it like all of a sudden goes back to like not a normal movie, because he's just beating the shit. He beats the shit out of like all 67 people on this train. But then they go back to like, I guess, the more grounded approach in the last 20 minutes. And I'm like, we were just like jumping in between train car. He was like holding two trains together with a chain, and he's 62 years old. It's fucking incredible.
When are we doing this?
It's only like an hour, 44 minutes or something like that.
Wow.
When I watched it, it gets you right in, I'm telling you. And the phone call scene is so perfect, because it's like we've seen it 5 fucking times. When they told me they tell you he's a retired cop in like the first 7 minutes, I'm like, fuck yeah, he is. But he'll never go back to that life.
He retired his gun long ago.
I gave that up, unless my wife and daughter are missing.
And then I'm going to murder the entire city to get to him.
Actually, it's his wife and son. It is kind of crazy how quickly he goes from like, I won't do it, to like, dude, he'll punch anyone that he even fucking sniffs. In this movie, he loves the grab your arm and like turn it behind your back move.
Nice.
He does that move to like 6 fucking people. I remember saying, I was getting really critical.
That's a cop move.
It is a cop move. I was getting really critical of his fighting. I'm like sitting here eating sunflower seeds, spitting them in a cup. I'm like, get another move. Beat him up a different way, bro. I've seen this 3 times. Anyway, The Commuter. Pretty dog shit, but it's fun, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. It gets it. It's like the guy on a sales pitch is like, look, man, and if you're not into it after that, I'm gonna get out for both of our sakes. That's The Commuter. All right, Matt, you want to get us started?
So The Bachelor is starting, and I talked Jeff into watching it. My wife makes me watch it, all right? It's not like I want to watch it, even though I DVR it all the time. But this season, I only watch The Bachelor. I don't watch The Bachelorette because women are just batshit crazy on this show, and it just really just makes my fucking Monday night. But this Bachelor, he is a pilot, and he was in the Hannah Brown season. Didn't watch the Hannah Brown season. I remember Hannah Brown from Colton season, and I am aware that she fucked, I think, the entire house when she was the Bachelorette. But she is back for no reason at all, which really pissed me off. And by the way, Jeff, I know this is your first time on it, but there's some talent in this house. There's usually not that many pretty girls. There's a lot of hot girls in this season. There's usually not that many.
The first question I had for Matt was, season 24 of The Bachelor, do I need to see the first 23 to be caught?
Absolutely not.
See, it's weird because maybe I just judge them on an incredibly high scale because they're only on this show to try and up their Instagram follower count. But I was like, I'm very critical of the girls' looks. And this is coming from someone in myself who is not good looking. So I'm like the perfect American to be watching this show, I think.
Well, okay, the things you got to watch out for Bachelor Bingo is, one, does Chris ever get any of the scraps? Which you know he does. He gets some of the scraps that leave.
Well, dude, we're not even talking scraps. This early in the season, he probably has pick of the litter.
Absolutely. The other thing you got to watch is the crazy black chick that makes it about 5 episodes because of the Rooney Rule.
Sure.
Rooney Rule
There's
applies
two
to
Asians
Bachelor.
that are riding those coattails so far too.
Yeah.
The Jasmine chick knows I'm Asian. Let me just lay low in the weeds. She actually might make it far. She seems cool, normal, attractive, but she hasn't, at least as far as the way they've edited it, I don't even think said a word to Peter.
My two favorite parts of the whole first 2 episodes so far is whenever he picks up McKenna and makes out with her in the dressing room and probably has sex with her, and then 5 minutes later doesn't give her the rose, he gives it to somebody else. That was fucking awesome. I wanted to give him a high five. That's fucking a big bro move.
The chick cheating like crazy on that tricycle course was awesome.
That was cool. You'll talk about the other big one, but the other one I want to talk about is whenever his first date was a chick was taking him to his parents' renewal wedding vows.
My God. And then giving her a framed photo of it.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me,
that's
dude?
going to be in their parents' living room forever if he doesn't pick that girl. Like, the wife's going to be like, who's that? It's like, oh, some girl I just took on a random date from The Bachelor. And
but
then you're going to wonder why that girl goes crazy later.
Yeah. All right, I have a few notes if I can dive into these. So, episode 2, I'm 80% through it, which is the most recent episode. I saw the rose ceremony, which, again, I don't understand the structure of the show, why that happens at the halfway point, but whatever. A few things we need to talk about. I have a few quotes here. This is a quote from a girl named Kelsey, who we'll get into her in just a second. But her quote is, and Banner, I think you'll especially love this quote. She says about another girl on the show, quote, "She's a snake. She's snaky. And I don't like snakes. In fact, they're my least favorite animal." Banner, I just want your raw thoughts on the quote.
I'm in. You guys have only watched 2 episodes? I'll be caught up by next week.
You will. It's on Hulu, I think.
Yeah, I'm good to go.
She's a snake.
This sounds awesome.
She's snaky. So apparently you can just take the actual animal's name and turn it into an adjective.
Yes, absolutely.
Quit being so penguiny.
You're berry. You're just a bear. You're more berry.
You're just Maltese falcony, and I don't like it, to be honest. All right, so let's talk about Kelsey. She is a part of what is now known as Champagne Gate, as I will so dub it. Let's see if I can get this trending on Twitter. So Champagne Gate, Banner, you'll love this. Kelsey is a 29-year-old who has had roughly 1,100 Botox injections in her life. That's my own guesstimate. Okay. And she brought a bottle of champagne that is about a year old that she received for her birthday about a year ago.
Sorry, Jeff, you're getting it wrong already. It's not any bottle of champagne. This bottle was from Des Moines, Iowa, which she clearly stated. That bottle, because that's where she's from. I was like, it's not from Paris, France. It's not from Italy. It's from Des Moines, Iowa. Ever been there? They have some corn and shit. I think Field of Dreams is around there, too. Okay, go ahead.
If you yeah, if you're not familiar, Des Moines, Iowa is basically the Napa Valley of Iowa.
Yeah, said no one ever.
Anyway, Champagne Gate. So she brings this bottle of champagne to the show with hopes of drinking it with Peter. She sets it down, puts it on ice. She's going over, talking to all the other girls, super excited about it, describing her plans.
Please tell me another girl opens it.
Of course,
Well, not
yes.
only any other girl, Boehner, but Hannah Ann.
The snaky of the snakiest.
The snake bastard herself
OMG.
walks Peter over to it, pops it open, plays completely dumbfounded when she gets confronted, and her and Kelsey get into it. And to make matters even better, they both receive a rose, so they're both going to continue to be on the show.
And of course, the producers set them side by side the rest of the episode.
Oh, that was a total coincidence. Come on. But I don't know, man. To me, it just blew my mind. And one last thing I have to say about this show, and Geiger, this is probably why you enjoy it, but I love the concept. In the very beginning, it's like him, 20 to 24 girls, in like 1 4-hour period where he has to meet all of them. But I love there is the concept of there being no organization for who gets time with him when. Mm-hmm. So it's basically all these girls are sitting in a semicircle, drinking cheap Pinot Grigio, getting drunk, and bitching about the ones currently talking to him, all whilst trying to steal him away over and over. So they purposely make there's no method to it, just so they can fight and get at each other's throats, and it's genius.
And it just shows how quickly women will just turn their back on one another. It's fucking great.
The guys what would happen, and I haven't seen The Bachelorette, so please don't ruin this by telling me that this is very far from the truth. The guys, you would cut to the date, cut back, and 2 of them would just have their shirt off, and one of them would be in a headlock.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is what would happen, basically. So that's my take on The Bachelor season 24. I don't know. I'm reluctantly in because I can't stop now.
It's so great.
I'm in. I'll watch it. I'm not even ashamed of it.
All right, anything else you guys watched before we move on to the last part of the show?
No.
Banner, do you have a question?
No.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up then.
You didn't have a question. Oh. Okay, that's it. The last segment of our show is our Do You Even Lift Bruh, where we used to find a question on the internet. We don't do that anymore. Now we ask you a question as we leave you. Today's one I think is particularly good since we just got Oscar noms this week. We'll probably talk about that either on the next episode or pretty soon. But the question is, what's a movie from 2019 that you didn't get to see that you really want to before we put the year too far in our rearview mirror? Geiger, you go first.
It's easy for me, Jojo Rabbit. It seems like a movie that's right up my wheelhouse. I'm not a Nazi or anything, but it's like a creative way to like make fun of Nazis without just like killing them. I don't know, and I haven't seen the movie, but that's what I get from it on the trailer.
You would love it.
And it has a great cast, and some of the kid actors in it I just saw at the Golden Globes, and I'm just like, God damn, like they have a lot of personality. I would actually like to see this film. That's one that just stands out to me because it's just a very creative, and it's Waititi, right? Directed it.
Yeah, Taika Waititi.
Yeah, that's one that I kind of need to maybe set aside some time and actually go see.
You would love it. Banner, how about you?
I still haven't seen Joker yet, so that's an obvious one. It's getting a lot of love. I'd like to see that, and then I also. Guilty pleasure. I also want to see Jumanji the next level because I loved the first one, and I don't know. I'm a sick fuck.
You're the problem. You're
I'm
why
part
these
of
are
the
getting
problem.
made.
I'm part of the problem.
You need help. I mean, we're not going to give it to you, but good luck finding it.
I promise I won't go. Actually, that's not a promise I can make. Never mind. I was going to say I promise I won't go see the next Transformers movie, but let's be honest with ourselves.
You have a obligation to Michael Bay to go see him.
I do.
Banner, are you boycotting Bad Boys for Life because you're a Michael Bay loyalist, or are you sticking with the franchise and going to give it a shot?
I probably will not see it in theaters, but I'll probably buy it because I have the other two, and you guys know I have this weird thing when I have like part of a set, I have to have the whole set. So I'll probably buy it.
It's getting good, like decent reviews. What I've read.
I know. I don't hate the trailers. I tried to hate them, but I don't hate them.
They're a
Despite
lot
my
of
best.
fun. All I don't
Vanessa
know.
Hudgens is in it. Does that move the needle for you?
Whenever
At
you
all?
say one more time in the trailer, I'm almost inclined to go see it.
I know. I'm like, God damn it. Why do I love that so much? One last time, unless it grosses over 400 million. They should say that when they fist bump. Like, give us the threshold the studio set. Like, you hit this, we'll give you another one. Two that I want to see, and one of these, I mean, I'm guarantee you all you guys want to see and will see. You just didn't say it, but Uncut Gems with Adam
It's coming
Sandler.
to Netflix.
It is, and that's my only thing is I'm not gonna go see it in theaters this weekend. I'm either gonna go see Underwater because that looks so bad / good, or Bad Boys for Life. But I was gonna go see Uncut Gems, but yeah, I think Netflix gets it like next Wednesday or Thursday or something. So,
Well,
but
I'm
I've
gonna
heard.
go see The Gentleman this weekend.
Oh fuck, that looks good too. Damn, it's early January is fucking crushing it right
They're
now.
bringing it.
Let's game plan and try to do a review on one of those. Go see the same one. But Uncut Gems, dude, I've heard incredible things about this movie. Like, and it's sports gambling. I think we'd all be down for it. And then one that I missed from March, and maybe I didn't miss it. Maybe I kind of boycotted it, but I'm over myself now. I've heard great things. Banner, you might have seen it. Maybe you just read it. I need to see Shazam.
I
Okay,
actually need to see it too. I'm
Okay,
pretty sure
I
it's
need-
on HBO right now.
It is on HBO.
I need to go back and give it a shot.
Geiger, does
Before I
that mean
should-
you've seen it?
No,
Mm-mm.
because I canceled my HBO subscription, and when they asked me why, I said because Brandon's fucking king, and then I hung up.
You actually said that?
Yes,
That's awesome.
they asked why. I told them why.
Don't ask the question you don't want the answer to. All right, guys, before we let the people go for episode 100 of the Bro 4 Squad podcast, what do you want to leave the people with, Matt? We'll toss the ball to you first.
Here's to 100 more, maybe 200. I don't fucking know. We're gonna do this till we don't want to do it no mo.
Yeah, so we'll probably hit 448. That's my guess.
Yeah, that's when we'll stop.
Yeah, I'll definitely take the under
I'll
because I took the under on 100. I can't believe we're still doing this shit.
It's
Why
just
are
like
we?
now it's like, why aren't we? We don't have anything else to
Okay,
do in
when
our
we
lives.
get to 448, will we all still be married to the same person?
That
Well,
makes
I
it
mean,
sound
I-
like all of us are married to
I don't
one.
want to. I don't want to share a wife.
Well, I mean, will we all be married, to the people we are now? Or will they just be like, you guys' podcast is stupid, I'm leaving you?
So at 448, I think Baby Banner will just be old enough to take over the podcast.
It's true. Let's give her.
Yeah.
And then that's what happens. She figures it out. Hopefully she makes some good friends that
It'll
don't.
probably be a shopping channel or something.
Or like they'll buy flying cars, whatever she'll be into by the time she's in like high school. All right, Banner, what do you want to leave the people with? F100.
Please just remember to pull over for emergency vehicles. I'm gonna make it a thing, guys. It's happening.
It's a thing. You've been doing it for like 20 episodes now.
It's been a while. Yeah.
What we need to do is find a way to look up the statistics of have more people pulled over for emergency vehicles since you started than before.
I can already tell you I'm making an impact. They have.
I guarantee
Okay.
there's at least one person that listens to our podcast tomorrow is going to hear an ambulance and be like, holy shit, I better pull over.
That needs to be like a quote on a t-shirt. Brian Banner, I can already tell you I'm making an impact.
No statistics needed.
No, fuck your statistics. Get them out of here. All right, for the mad scientist Brian Banner and our enforcer in the paint Matt Geiger, our force ghost Ronnie Cycli, the American hero Nate Thurmond, and Brent Barry, who doesn't have a nickname, who was once on the podcast, and lest we forget Popeye Jones, we have been the Bro 4 Squad podcast, just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. Thank you guys so much for being with us through 100 episodes. Let's do 1,800 more. Let's do that. Let's just die in the middle of a podcast. Let's make that happen.
I mean, don't we run that risk every episode?
That's a good point.
R.I.P. Alex English.
Follow us on Twitter at Bro4 Squad. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. Type in Bro Force Squad as 3 separate words. Type those same 3 words in a letterbox.com. Check out all of our reviews. Go to our website, bro4squad.com. You can find all of our content there, and there is a survey at the top of that website. If you click it and let us know what we're doing right or wrong on our show so we can make some improvements, we will give you a shout-out next episode. And if you could give us a 5-star iTunes review, that would kick ass. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you being with us every step of the way, and we look forward to seeing you at the movies. Now we have to talk starting 5, right, for UNC Charlotte basketball. How are they looking this year? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
They got a really strong team. It'll probably be a play-in game.
For Conference USA?